Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Ella. This is my makeup for inspired by Valentine's Day. Sending you much love and joy. I feel like everybody should be loved 365 days out of the year, but especially on a day that is dedicated to love. I hope that you take this opportunity to do something special for yourself first and take care of yourself. I love a good makeup look. I love a makeup look that is very simple, dewy, and focused on complexion, which is exactly what I'm giving you here today. If you're interested on how I do this makeup look, then please continue watching. So to start this makeup look, I'm going to prime my skin with the Clarins SOS. This is the Radiance Booster Primer. And I like to focus it starting from my cheeks, my forehead, and then my nose. And this does give a very nice glow. Next, I'm going to be prepping my eyelids using the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base. And now that I have my eyeshadow base on, that gave a little bit of time for my primer to set, and I'm going to be using the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Foundation. Today I'm using the shade 5 because I don't have any self-tan on, and I'm going to be using the Fluid Sheer Glow Enhancer. This is from Armani as well. I have number 10, and I like to give it a little bit of a shake and one pump with my foundation. It gives me a really nice glow. And to apply my foundation today, I don't want something that's very full coverage. So I like to go ahead and absorb it with my beauty sponge and then start from the outside and work my way in. And the reason why I don't want a thick base on my foundation is because I'm going to be using concealer and contour powder, so I feel like it does build up to a medium coverage, and that's why I just don't feel like there's a need to start off with such a heavy base. That's not what I'm looking for today, and that's not the look that I'm going for. And you can see it just gives you the perfect amount of coverage. I love the glow, and I still have some of my kind of blemishes peeking through and some of my pigmentation marks, and I don't mind any of that. Just bringing that down to the neck. So once my foundation is all blended, I'm going to go in with a little bit of concealer. Today I'm using the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. I have the shade Meringue 2.1N. And you don't need a lot of this concealer at all. So I'm gonna put a little bit here under the eyes and just anywhere where I wanna bring in some light. And to blend it all out, I'm gonna be using the Sephora 57 brush. And I start by kind of pressing it into the skin and then slowly beginning to diffuse it. And you can see it's not totally blended, obviously, underneath my eyes, really anywhere, but I'm just pressing it in. I feel like it helps the concealer blend better with the foundation. And then once I go in with my sponge afterwards, it'll kind of bring the whole look together. And I like to apply a very small amount, you can see just right underneath my cheekbone, because I feel like when I do my contour, it really helps bring it out. Going back in with my beauty blender and just kind of now really blending in the concealer everywhere. And with whatever's on my sponge, I go on top of my eyelid just to cover up again any darkness, any veins that I may have poking through. And I don't worry about it being super blended because, again, this is a process. And now with my contour, I'm going to be, after I apply the darker shade, I'm going to be blending it in even more. Today I'm using the Westman Atelier. This is in the shade Biscuit, and I absolutely love this. I feel like it's such a nice product to work with. It's very easy to blend. I love the way that it looks with any powder that I use afterwards. And I'm just going to be contouring a little bit above my cheekbone on the side here. I like to do my forehead. If you have a smaller forehead, then I don't recommend for you to contour up here, but rather just the sides. And then a little bit just right here, kind of to help chisel the face. I like to do my nose, focusing on the tip, and then my lips. Trust me, this does make a difference. So I kind of just pinch them together and I go right over my natural lip line on the top and as well as the bottom, and a little bit on my eyelids because we are kind of pulling the face up, and that will help. To blend it, I'm using an angled brush from Sephora, and again, patting motions, just pressing it into the skin. And this is a cooler shade in the Westman Atelier. She does have the shade, I believe it's Truffle, which is a little bit warmer, but because I'm using this to contour, and again, I don't have any self-tan on, this actually works really nicely. And you can see how it just pulls up the eye. And then I like to blend it into my hairline. It just helps the look come together. And for my nose, I like to use a smaller brush. And because I only applied the contour on the tip, I just kind of stretch it upwards. And I press a little bit of that contour that I applied on my lips. Isn't that such a pretty lip color already? And next, going back in with my beauty sponge, I'm using the side where I applied my foundation and kind of using that to help me bring in all the contour together. I'm loving the way that my complexion looks right now. For blush, I'm gonna be using the Nudestix. This is in the shade Bareback, and I like to apply some on the back of my hand first, just to warm it up. And then I'm gonna be using the Real Techniques. This is the Face Expert blush, and I apply some on there. And I make sure that I get it all over the brush and then start to apply that on my cheeks. So smile. And because this shade is quite light and it's not very pigmented, I'm just gonna apply a little bit more. Again, working that into my brush. Smile and move upwards. A little bit on the bridge of my nose. I even like to go a tiny bit on my eyes and back with the Beauty Blender to fuse it all together here. And now we can set. So to set all my cream products, I'm gonna be using the Charlotte Tilbury. This is in the shade number 1 Fair. It's their airbrush powder. And this really does help like mattify and get rid of your pores, which is why I like to start patting it in here, which is where I usually get a little bit more oily. And then with what's left, I bring it underneath my eyes because the Huda Beauty concealer actually sets very well. And I don't want my eyes to look very dry. And with whatever's left on my brush, I just go a little bit everywhere, not too much. And that is it. Now I'm gonna be using a little bit of bronzer because I did just powder down my face, and you can see there's not a ton of pigment, but in my opinion it is the perfect amount. I really love the way that my complexion is looking, and I'm gonna be using the Tom Ford Glow Bronzer in the shade 02 Terra. This is one of my favorites, and I'm using a bigger, fluffier brush just because I want to be very gentle. And for me, a very kind of love yourself and a makeup look that makes me very happy is one where my complexion looks very nice and soft. And my favorite makeup looks are the ones that focus more on complexion, because I feel like that is the base, and it is the most important thing to me when it comes to makeup and doing my makeup. And just stretching that down. And now to finish the complexion, I am going to be applying a powder blush with the exact same brush, a very little. I'm using the Chanel blush, and this is in the shade, I believe it's Elegance. Yes, 370 Elegance. This is very pretty, and it's a nice combo with the cream blush I just used. Very pretty and natural, you guys. I feel like if I just do my brows and throw on some mascara, I am good to go. I'm very happy with the way that my complexion is looking. And speaking of brows, I'm gonna use the Dior Show. This is the eyebrow pencil. I have the shade dark brown, and I like to use the side to brush them out first. I don't fill in my brows much because they're pretty full, but I like to focus on the ends and just fluff them up a little bit and get them to appear a bit longer. And now for my eyes, I'm gonna keep this kind of warm brown neutral tones because that is truly the makeup look that makes me the happiest, and I love it. So now I'm gonna use the Westman Atelier. These are her iPods, and I'm using the shade Neige just to highlight the inner corner. And with a very thin brush, I like to go into the eyeshadow. I'm only going to be using very little, and I want to apply a tiny bit in the inner corner. And the next shade she has is Tabak, which is this beautiful bronzy shade, and I'm going to take a blender brush and get in there. I do find that her iPods apply best with your fingers because or her brushes. The brushes that I have, they don't catch a ton of pigment from these iPods, I'll be honest with you. So usually I do prefer to use my fingers, but because I want my eyes to be very soft, then I don't mind just having a little bit of pigment. And I'm gonna apply that right in the crease. And because these are creamy, I definitely don't mind using my fingers to help blend everything out. And I'm just gonna stretch this out a little bit. And with that same thin brush, I'm going to get the Tabak shade and apply it right underneath my eyes here, just to create a shadow, and this will help your eyes appear bigger. And I also feel like it makes me look a little bit more awake, if that makes sense. And now I'm going to be using a Chanel shadow it's matte and it's in the number 22. It's a single shadow and I love this matte kind of brown shade. I'm gonna dip this Sephora smudge brush and do kind of a tight line and a little bit of a winged liner look using eyeshadow because I feel like it helps it look very soft. And I like to start from the end of my eye and work towards the middle so that by the time I get in here, there's almost no eyeshadow at all. And this just helps open up the eyes a little bit. And with what's left, again, going underneath my eyes, especially focusing right here in the middle because it creates a very nice shadow. And I'm gonna curl my eyelashes and be right back. So I've curled my eyelashes and I'm gonna be using the YSL, I believe this is the Lash, yes, mascara. And I love the volume that this gives me. It's a very thick spoolie. My mascara is on, and now for the final steps, but my absolute favorite is lips. For my lips, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip liner in the shade Deep Taupe. And I don't over align my lips. I just like to bring the top together over here and make them basically a little bit more pouty just right here. And everything else I go with my natural lip line. And after I do that, I actually like to use my finger to kind of bring it in because I feel like my lipstick lays better. My lipstick lays better, and overall I love the way that it looks. Very put together. And for my lipstick, I'm using the Gucci Call It a Day, and this is so pretty. It's like a very nice pink warm color, and the packaging is very cute. You can throw it in your purse. It's very compact. And our final step is to apply a little bit of highlighter, and I'm going to be using this one from my Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate. And again, I like to squeeze my beauty blender like this, and with the side that's clean, I pick up some of the highlighter and I take off the excess on the back of my hand, and then with very gentle motion, I just apply it on the high points of my face. And that is it, you guys. This is my favorite, very simple, love yourself makeup routine. I'm sending you hugs and a lot of joy this Valentine's Day. Whether you're with somebody or you are single, I hope that you take this opportunity to show yourself some love and make yourself happy, which is the most important thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.